So one of the things that I'm doing to plan for our Major Gifts program next year is to find out from the donors what they're interested in. One of the benefits of having additional resources allocated to Major Gifts programs, typically Major Gifts programs have more resources within the organization allocated to them than, say, a lower level fundraising program, say the annual fund program. And so I take advantage of the opportunity to have more one-on-one contact with a donor and identify what their interests are. So for example, I'm in a situation now where I'm helping build a Major Gifts constituency. I don't have a lot of familiarity about what the current donors are interested in. There are some notes in our database about what donors are interested in, and so I can glean what I can from that. But my strategy is to find out what programs most of our donors are. I start with our highest level donors, what programs they're interested in, what kinds of contact they're most interested in, if it's an event that they'd like to participate in, or if they'd prefer to receive their communication one-on-one from our executive. I gather that data and then build a calendar looking at our resources that we have, availability of our executive staff, our volunteers, or the resources that we have to host an event. And I look at where our donor interests lie and sort of see how I can respond to their interest in a way that would bring them closer to the organization. So in a way that they would continue to be engaged with our programs, engaged with our giving opportunities, engaged with the information that we have to share with them about how their dollars are being put to use. We can make a lot of assumptions about what works in Major Gifts programs, and one of the benefits of being part of a fundraising community and being part of a professional organization that supports that fundraising community is that there's an exchange of ideas, there are best practices that we can share with one another, and we can build a base plan around that. So you can use different strategies around certain kinds of communications that you would use throughout the year. So for example, I don't inundate major donors with a lot of communications. I'm very selective and very specific about the information that I would send to them. And so of course I negotiate with our operations staff and what they can support. We make that negotiation, or we make that agreement at the beginning of the year, and I can make a plan, a communication plan with my donors, or for my donors, for the following calendar year. But I negotiate with team members that are going to have a role to play in that at the beginning of the year. I negotiate with our events team, about what kind of events they can support in terms of staff time or in terms of dollars. And then I look at, based on the feedback that I've gotten from our donors, I look at what are the things that are most compelling to them and make sure that those components are, at least the baseline components, are involved in the plan. Working with a donor base that is relatively new and trying to expand this donor base, I actually use my planning as a way to reach out and touch the donors that I haven't had any contact with. So, one of the most important things to do with any new donor or prospect is to establish trust. One of the ways that you can do that is to ask their advice and ask for their help. And what I've done is ask for help and feedback from a number of donors that I haven't been able to reach in any other way. But I'll talk to them and say, hey, I'm putting together a plan for next year, and for the area, for donors like you who invest so significantly in our work, and I want to get your feedback on what you'd like to see, what you'd like to hear, how you'd like to be involved. Do you like to attend events? Do you want to attend one-on-one meetings instead? Would you really rather just that I communicate with you via email or mail? Do you not want me to talk to you at all? But at least I get a sense from our top folks, and as time and resources allow, I expand that conversation further, but I talk to our primary investors about what it is that is most exciting and engaging for them. And you bet I do whatever I can to include that in our plan for the following year. But it's definitely a negotiation. Once I receive that feedback from our donors, it's a negotiation with our staff about what they can support. And every organization is different. So you might have a one-person development office, or you might have 20 people on your team or 30 people on your team. And so the capabilities are different. But as you talk to your donors and you find out what's most important to them, you can focus on those key components of the plan and make sure that at least you're responding to your primary donor interests and not just your own.